Hello again. After you have successfully logged into SQL Server using the SA account through the Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio, you can now try to restore the database to the SA account. To do that, we have to download the data script from our Canvas system. Now within this environment, we have to log into Canvas again. And I know this is a little bit confusing, but when we are using the virtual desktop, we're actually facing another computer. So if you try to enter Canvas, you have to log in again. So what I will do is I will open up a browser within the virtual desktop. Be aware that, again, cannot emphasize more. If you look at on my computer desktop, if you switch to other tab, for example, I have already logged in through my local computer, but in the virtual desktop, it is still not logging. So let me try to go through the process of logging again. And, and we are trying to log in to Canvas system. So we are entering the familiar login screen. And in this case, I'm using my account and typing the login information. And once you log in, you might need to go through again the two-factor authentication process. And what I would do is I will again using a phone call to authenticate my new computer login. Okay, now I have successfully authenticate my login, and I will go into the system and try to get into our course and download the data file. And I will try to find our course. Depending on the semester you are in, and the course name may be different, what I would do is I will use the course template to download the data set. And it will be the data set is in, again, module 1. You can find this over here called the MSSQL Cape Cod data file. Let me go ahead and download the desktop. Download this to desktop. Now it's actually open into the download folder. I'll open the folder. And since this is a zip file, we have to unzip the file. Simply copy and paste this to the virtual desktop. Now if you shrink all the browser, you will be able to find these two kind of special looking file, and one with the name something called create table. The other one has the name of insert data. We have to execute these two scripts on the Microsoft Management Studio environment in order to restore the data. But even before we restore data, we have to create a database first. Now to show you the process, let me go ahead and open up these two scripts, one of these two scripts, to show you what's need to be done. So what I'm doing here is I try to take a look at what's inside the script file and right click on the file, because the default software is not the one we are using in our class. So I'm going to be using this thing called the Notepad++ to show you what's inside the software. So this is a script file and written using SQL language. And at this particular point in time, for those of you who have learned SQL already, you can probably see how this is done. And the first line, that working line in the script, is called use cape_cod, and this is the name for the database. So simply saying, the process is we are going to be creating a database called Cape Cod inside your SA account connection using Microsoft Management Studio, and then import these two scripts and execute these two scripts to make the data install or restored to the server. So what I'm going to be doing is I'll close the data file and go back to my Management Studio environment. And in here, I will right click on this folder called database and it says new database. And the database name will be Cape Cod. And click OK. And the new database called Cape Cod now is created. And there's something called database diagram. If you click on that, nothing in there yet. Click on table, expanding. There's some system table, but not exactly what you can see here. Okay, so now we are ready to restore the data. We can now open the script file by click on the file and then open from a file. Since we have restored the file to the desktop already, we will go ahead to find these two files on desktop. And you can see two files because we have unzipped two files here. We will start with the first one called create table. So the process is very simple. Create table inside the database and then insert data to each one of this table that we have in the database and click OK. It will open up the script inside the Management Studio. And so this is the exact same script we saw earlier using Notepad++. Here, once we are in the script, we can now execute. And the execution says the command complete successfully. So if now you try to refresh the database, you should be able to see all these new tables showing up in the Cape Cod database. So going to database, table, see all these tables already show up. You can close the first script file now and then open another script file. The second script file is the one has a name called insert data. So we'll run this script as well, and it has all the data that inside the script. Execute the data file, and here's some successful message how many rows has been installed or restored to your database. Let's restore the data table again, or refresh the data table again. And now if you go into any one of this table, you can right click and select, say, select a top 1000 row. Then it will show a query inside a browser, well, not browser, a panel, and the result will be showing up below. So if you reach this particular point, you are ready to work on your assignment. And our assignment requires you to take screenshot. And you can find the method of creating screenshot after you have completed your work from Google search, or the software that I recommend for in the Windows environment is Snip and Sketch. Snip and Sketch is useful software that you can use. And in Macintosh computer, of course, there is a key combination you can grab the screenshot. Without the further explanation about the screenshot, let me go back to the assignment and let's take a look at how we try to answer the first question. And actually, the process will be the same for you to answer all the questions. So the first question is, it asks you to issue a query similar to, well, actually exactly like this one. Select order number, SKU, quantity multiplied by time as EP from order item, and order by ordered item and SKU. From for me to read this query is probably not understandable. And this is where you need to go back to your textbook to read chapter 2 to understand what is the structure of the SQL language and learn the structure and come back to work on the assignment. But of course, if you enter blindly without any typo into the environment, you should be able to answer the question correctly. So let me go back to the Management Studio environment. To enter a query, you can always click on this little button that says New Query. So we will type in a new query. A new query will take you to a new tab that you can enter query. And in here, we are going to be enter the query as described in the assignment. Just to save time, I have freeze the computer screen, enter the query exactly as what described in question number 1 from assignment 1.2. And once you have the query entered correctly, simply click execute, and the result will show under the, the panel. And now I have some error. The error is I have 2n for the second number. So I'll correct the error and execute this again, and the result will show up here. So this is where you will be taking a screenshot. I'm using Shift Command and 4 on my Macintosh computer to capture this particular screenshot, and this will be the answer to your first query. And on my computer desktop now I have the screenshot. So on my Macintosh computer, the screenshot is right here. All you need to do is copy and paste this particular screenshot into a Word document and label with the problem number. In this case, the screenshot is number 1. So compile all the screenshot into one Word document and submit the Word document, and you're done with the assignment 1.2. Again, this particular tutorial does not teach you how to use SQL or learn SQL language. We simply go through the process of how to use the virtual environment using the SQL Server with the ACA account to restore data and execute the query. So now it's your turn, your job to try to recreate the result that you read from your textbook and practice the query from the very beginning. And we will have another assignment, practice more sophisticated query in the future. This is the end of the demonstration of how to execute the query.